6 minutes.
Thank you very much, and thank the gentleman for yielding the time. Today, Congress can finally do something positive when it comes to energy, the energy situation in this country, and that is to pass this landmark legislation, the Passenger Rail Investment and Improvement Act of 2008. With gas prices today at $4 a gallon, we on both sides of the aisle can join together and move to improve passenger rail in this country. And it is, as I said, something that will be a positive for the energy situation. When you look at the airlines, they consume 20% more energy per passenger mile than AMTRAK does to move a passenger. Passenger cars consume over 27% more energy per passenger mile than AMTRAK. AMTRAK is the most efficient way to move large numbers of people in our country today. So this is going to help with the energy situation. It's a positive step in the right direction. We still need to do much more, but this is a positive step. The other situation that we're facing in this country is the growing population. We just recently crossed over the 300 million threshold in population in our country. It took us 65 years to go from 200 million to 300 million. It'll take us just 35 years to go from 300 million to 400 million. And if you look around the country, and what I have is a chart that shows these corridors throughout the country. This is where the population density is going to get even thicker and more dense throughout this country. And this is where we're talking about down the road expanding high-speed rail across the country to help move passengers, to get people out of their cars, to move them efficiently, to get them into our major urban areas and get them out again, and get them between major urban areas. So, as I said, as the population grows, AMTRAK can be there with intercity travel, helping us to move people. And people are desperate to get out of their cars, I believe, especially when you're traveling to and from. I know in Pennsylvania we've had a fantastic partnership between the state and AMTRAK to establish the Keystone Line. Travels over 100 miles an hour and gets you from Harrisburg, the state capital, to downtown Philadelphia in about an hour and 35 minutes, an hour and 40 minutes, and no messing with traffic, no congestion. Once again, the American people, I think, will get out of their cars and get on this intercity travel if we establish a system that works, a system that moves people fast and conveniently. Three provisions in this legislation that I'm very pleased to see we put in here. First, a private partnership with AMTRAK, the Department of Transportation, identifying two of the worst performing lines in the country and putting it out for bid, allowing the private sector to come in and take those lines over and have a hand at trying to make them more efficiently, their hand at finding ways to improve rail traffic, to decrease costs. So I'm very pleased that that's in here. Second, private partnership that we're looking at is, as my colleague from Florida stated, to reestablish a line that has been abandoned by AMTRAK that's no longer in service, to have the private sector come in and around the country, look, see where one of those lines are, and to reestablish that. And third, as the gentleman from Florida talked about, the Northeast Corridor, putting a request for a proposal in to have private industry come in a partnership to look at how much it's going to cost us to take the Northeast Corridor and truly make it a high-speed rail corridor from New York City to Washington, D.C., traveling in 2 hours or less, which is something that, once again, I believe that the American people will embrace. So for my colleagues that we've debated on this floor, I've watched debates for the last 20 years on this floor, there's always been an argument. Can the private sector do it better? No, the government has to do it. Well, here we're going to have some tests. We're going to have some, I believe, some positive results in a public-private partnership that we'll be able to look to be able to expand passenger rail in this country. So I'm very pleased with that. One thing I do want to point out in this, that I've heard a lot of talk, that this legislation does not change Davis-Bacon law. There are people running around town here saying that this does change Davis-Bacon law. It does not change Davis-Bacon law. So for any of my colleagues that wish to have a discussion with me on that, I'm happy to do that. But I want to make sure that that's been pointed out here. And finally, I want to say thank you to the chairman for his goodwill and his allowing me to put some of my ideas into this legislation. Also, Chairwoman Brown and our partnership on the subcommittee. I appreciate her leadership. But thank you both very much. And also to Mr. Micah for giving me the opportunity to be the ranking member and also including me deeply in all the discussions as we were able to craft this legislation. So I would encourage all my colleagues to support this today. This is something positive we can do for America, positive step we can take to help with our energy situation, and I think it's just a win-win for everybody in America today as we move forward to establish some high-speed rail corridors around this country. And with that, I yield back.
Does the gentleman wish to engage in the colloquy?
Yes.